I've done some stupid shit and have made some stupid decisions in my life, and that does not exclude finances from the conversation. And this video feels a little off brand for me, but regardless, in order for me to encourage you guys to live your best life, I have to discourage you from making the same mistakes that I made. And this video does not have to apply to people only in their 20s, it can apply to anyone at any time. That's just the decade that I'm working with. I'll be 30 in a couple short months. And as I'm reflecting and growing on my past, there's definitely some things that I see that I would change. So hopefully in sharing this, you will avoid making the same mistakes that I did. Now, I don't entirely blame myself for this one because I was a teenager at the time, and having the expectation on a teenager to know what they want to do with their life is insane. So I chose to go away to a 4-year school after graduating high school when I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life and I had no idea what I wanted to major in. I knew nothing. And I just blindly signed a $30,000 student loan to go away for 1 year to basically experience being a real adult. And I regret that so much because that student loan, although I'm so thankful, I know a lot of people's student loans are like mortgage payments and mine is more like a car payment. But that 1 year away at that school pretty much cost me more than the rest of my entire bachelor's degree education. And I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Like, why would I make such a huge financial commitment when I had no idea what I wanted to do? So I literally, being a teenager, thought, what subject in high school am I good at? And I picked biology. So I was a bio major for the whole entire year I was away at school. I wound up coming home because I didn't even like the school, enrolled in my county school, still was a bio major, and then decided to switch to business. When I actually started working, I actually got into banking and finance, and I was like, this is actually kind of more of what I want to do. And I wasted all of that money, all of that time and effort into all of those bio classes and worked my ass off like spring, summer, fall, winter semesters to graduate almost on time, like a semester late with my degree so I can get out there and be an adult in the working world. Now, I graduated high school in 2014, so that was before the world essentially changed. Everything is so different now. So, what kids are being told to do when they're graduating high school now, I don't know if they're under as much pressure to get into college right away that my generation was. That hopefully you guys have so much more knowledge of other jobs out there, like trades or even social media, or just investing in yourself, or just taking even a year to figure out what it is you really want to do before you make that huge financial commitment. I really encourage you to do that if you can, because spending all that money and taking out these student loans that are especially predatory, like Sally Mae, it's just not a good idea. It's definitely avoidable. So if you don't have the guidance from mom or dad, please listen to me, your big sis. Don't go away to school. Don't sign a 30, 50, $100,000 loan to go away to school when you don't know for certain what you want. This next one is definitely more all age appropriate, and that was taking on a huge responsibility I was not ready for, aka getting a dog. And especially the kind of dog that I got. I got a Doberman Pinscher, and they are extremely high energy, high drive working dogs. And me having no dog experience on my own, growing up, I had German short hair pointers, which are hunting working dogs, but nowhere near the level that a Doberman is at. And that is the kind of responsibility I put on myself at just 25. So I will have had my dog, his name's Jaeger, for almost 5 years now. And talking about getting Jaeger, I won't even touch on like the mental, emotional, physical toll getting a Doberman puppy took on me at that time. This is just a financial video, and don't take this as I hate my dog, because I don't. I love him, but God, did I set myself up for failure when I did that. So obviously having a puppy is extremely expensive. Common sense, right? Well, not to 25-year-old Sam, it's not. The puppy itself, I got him from a breeder. I didn't go to a shelter. I wanted a puppy for my first dog I wanted to raise before I ever rescued. And he was like $3,000. He was expensive. I had the money. I had savings. I was prepared. On the surface, I was prepared. But when I actually started to purchase all his supplies, go to the vet, all of his new puppy vaccines, vet visits. Oh, he's throwing up. I'm paranoid, like anxious dog mom person in general. I'm taking him to the vet every time he's having diarrhea. Oh my God. Thousands of dollars in vet bills, supplies, puppy food, training, so much in just the first even 6 months of his life. And on top of that, 4 days after I brought my dog home, I actually got laid off from my job. It was like just post COVID. It was like 2021 or 2022. I think it was 2022. And I lost my job. So not only was I having this huge additional expense to my already not super tight, but not flourishing budget, I had no more income. So I was so fucked. And also, I didn't have a stable living situation. I mean, I did. I rented an apartment with my best friend. Me and my best friend were roommates, and it was beautiful and it was a great arrangement. But the apartment building didn't even allow pets in my specific building, which I didn't know. I didn't do the research. It was just, I was so unprepared, and I set myself up for massive failure bringing my puppy home. And even though it kind of worked out because I was unemployed while I had him, so I did have the time to constantly train and potty train. I don't know how the fuck I would have done it if I was working a full-time job and having him. I wouldn't have. So I guess it was meant to be. But oh my God, the financial hole that I had dug myself in between his expenses, my living expenses, and any extras while being unemployed, it was so deep. It was astronomical. I That set the trajectory for the next like 3 years of my life after that of financial struggle. So after I lost my job, I was out of work for about 6 months, and I did eventually find another job, but the salary was pretty much the same as the job that I had lost previously. So if it was the same circumstance as before, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But since I now had the added expense of this dog and also all of this credit card debt, I was unable to breathe. I literally couldn't afford a thing. I had no breathing room. I was just maxing out my credit cards, trying to stay afloat. I was able to, in a miracle, move from one lease to another lease because my job I got in the nick of time, before I had to move out of my one place into the next. And I wound up renting a house with my sister, which was fine. And, we could afford it, the rent anyway, but everything else was just an absolute nightmare, and I was drowning, and I didn't know how to get myself out of the situation, which brings me to my next mistake, was doing a debt consolidation program. Looking back, I should have just filed bankruptcy at that point. I was swimming in like $40,000 worth of debt between my credit cards and everything that had happened, all of Jaeger's expenses, everything. And I couldn't even meet my minimum monthly payments on my credit cards because I just kept using them because I needed to eat, right? And get to work. So I was trying to avoid bankruptcy so bad. It's so stigmatized. Obviously, it does hurt your credit, but at the same time, it absolves you. It kind of gives you a clean slate, whatever, depends on the chapter you're filing. Um, but I was terrified and I didn't know what to do. And I just Googled and researched on my own. That's typical Sam behavior. And I found ads for this debt consolidation program. And what that is essentially is you have a law firm negotiate your debts on your behalf to settle them for less than what you actually owe. So if I had like 5 credit cards that I couldn't pay anymore, they need you to stop paying them. So I started accumulating late payments. I got 30, 60, 90-day lates on my credit from stopping paying these credit cards. So your credit's going to fucking tank anyway. My credit went to fucking hell. And they're negotiating these debts on your behalf. They're settling maybe for like 3/4 of what you owe. So is it a huge savings? No. And also that the money you save, in the settlement, if you owe Discover, $10,000, they settle the debt for 8, that $2,000 is now considered taxable income that you have to claim on your tax return. that gets taxed. So you're gonna owe money on the money that you saved. It's such bullshit. And I wish I could have just filed bankruptcy because my credit got destroyed anyway, and I wound up getting this huge loan for like almost $30,000 at like 30% interest to pay it off over like 4 or 5 years. So it was like an $850 a month loan. I was still fucking screaming and scraping by, but now I've got no credit and no credit cards. So I was literally scrounging my pennies to survive this period of my life. Where if I had filed bankruptcy, yeah, my credit would have been shot, but I was absolved of the debt. I wouldn't have had that huge burden of paying that shit off anyway. So here I am, broke as fuck, 500 credit score because of a decision I made to go that route instead of actually consulting a professional, discussing my options, and seeing what else was out there for me. So if you find yourself in that situation too, don't do it. It's not worth it. After going through that whole traumatic experience with getting my dog and being unemployed and getting that stupid fucking consolidation loan and ruining my credit, I made the mistake of earlier not investing in retirement and not having an emergency fund. If I had an emergency fund, I would have been so much better off. And if you don't know, the typical parameters of an emergency fund is saving minimum 3 months, but typically like 6 months of your essential monthly expenses. So whatever like your rent is, your insurance payments, car payments, and like whatever you need to like eat and survive. So for me at that time was probably like $3,500. And looking back, of course, you can say like, oh, I should have did this, should have did that, but I spent it a little too frivolously. I got eyelash extensions when they were really popular at their height, and that was like $250 a month. I got my nails done all the time, and this was like pre Jaeger. Like I could never afford or even manage nails and lashes like with him as a puppy. But I did spend a lot of money, like DoorDash or like going out to eat all the time. I really was not intentional with my money sooner. The sooner you can create a financial strategy for yourself to build up an emergency fund, a savings, start investing in your 401k at work, even if it's just a small percentage, but ideally a percentage if your company matches you. Oh my God, you would be so set up. You would be so, what do I want to say? Like, you would have such a better, like safety net, I guess that's what I want to say. You would have such a better safety net if disaster struck. I had no safety net. I had a little savings. I think I had like 3 grand or something like that after I got Jaeger. And yeah, that was it. I thought that was enough. It was not fucking enough. This one is less of a mistake and more of a regret, but I wish earlier in my life I had the courage to establish a second income source. I wish I had the courage to pursue my passions more. I always knew, even though I was indoctrinated to follow the societal checklist of go to college, get a good job, and save money, get your 401k, blah, blah, blah. That never really sat right with me. I knew that wasn't how I wanted to live my life long term. And I mentally took my life serious in that way. I always was brainstorming ideas and exploring my passions, but it never crossed that threshold. Like my actions never matched my thoughts and my desires. And I just wasted my 20s ruminating in analysis paralysis and being frozen in fear, essentially, of actually taking action to change my life and put myself out there and do something that I was passionate about or I actually wanted to do. But it's definitely better late than never. And I don't look back at my 20s with too much regret and sadness because I obviously made those mistakes for a reason. I had to do some self reflection and some learning about myself to undo the thought patterns and my beliefs that made me act in that way. And if I hadn't made those choices and learned those lessons, I would not be the person that I am today with the wisdom that I have now. And I wouldn't give that up for anything. Thankfully, because of social media, women are so much more equipped to make informed decisions about their life from the experience of others who come on here and share. So I really hope that anyone who watches this has definitely taken something away from this and avoids making any kind of mistake or pitfall in their own life. I encourage you at any age, but especially when you're young, to be extremely intentional with your finances, because even those little contributions that you make in the beginning when you're like 20, 21, they're going to start compounding into success that you're going to see later on. And you're going to look back and have no regrets and be so thankful that you did what you did when you were younger. I hope this video was insightful. I hope somebody took something away where they could learn or avoid doing something that they would regret later. Either way, no worries. That's how we learn, and that's a part of life. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you in the next video.